people. Welcome,
Good
welcome,
night,
welcome,
people.
welcome. Good
Night
night
time.
and welcome to
Good night. Good night. Good night.
another episode of the Up Inside Your podcast, where each week we get up inside your life, we get up inside your business, we get up inside your beliefs, because we analyzing issues affecting Barbados and the world today. I am your host, Chad Dizzle, with my boy Keita Rizzle. We got Janelle Tizzle, and we got the hot boy Tyrone Sizzle. We're going on with winner.
Good
We're going on with
night.
winner tonight. We're going on with winner tonight. How the week going?
Oh my god.
How last weekend treat winner? When I got let me know what happening. Tonight topic is parenting during a pandemic. I got the easy solution here. We could done this podcast. No, cut the mask and lock the door. And that's it. Tell Alori Media Productions that the show done. Give me the end credits there. Any name on that? Just lock the door. Lock the door. Cut the mask, man.
I hear you,
Go
man.
ahead, boy.
Man, greet the people, and
Good night,
and thing.
everybody. Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Vermont, ain't serious.
I mean,
Like, I'm pretty sure finished already.
I haven't realized I
Thanks for coming out tonight. It was a great show.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, tonight what we talking about pandemic
Pandemic parenting.
parenting in a pandemic. Well,
Yeah.
you know what, this would have been the easiest show for me because considering I'm the only one here who's not a parent. You know, I have no notes. Like we have our empty. I am here trying to get some knowledge from everybody here tonight. But on a more serious note, it is, and you can see how it could be a challenge for parents. Again, a lot of feedback.
Yeah, I hearing the feedback too.
I
Alori,
hearing something too.
Yeah. All right, go ahead, my brother.
Good? Plug in? Good.
Yeah.
So I can understand the impact of what parenting is like during or I could try to understand what the impact has been on parenting during the pandemic. Especially know that there's no for sure every day is school or every day is not school. You know, when the pandemic first started last year, every day I felt like a summer vacation where you would see a child home all the time, and you know, you were getting accustomed to your child being around you more regularly than they usually are. But no, it's totally different. That's the thing in the past. The pandemic is here to stay because I guess if you all call it a pandemic or a fake pandemic, it's here and we gotta live with this.
Pandemic.
Pandemic. And we gotta live with this. And at the end of the day, parenting has evolved from what it was before. It is totally different. No, I'm just curious to see like what y'all thoughts are about parenting during this pandemic. You know, everybody here is a parent, in some format at some point in time. I try to be a parent, so you know, I want to hear from you guys. What has parenting been like during this pandemic?
Tyrone, you want to start? You know, you fresh out the gates.
Yeah, Tyrone, there's you first. There's your first child.
I may be heard clearly. Just want to make sure because
Yeah, you clear, brother.
Yes,
You clear.
yes, please.
good. My circumstance, I guess, is a bit more simple than people who have older kids because my daughter is only 6 months old. So her circumstance is basically she would normally be home with a parent regardless of the circumstance at her age. So there hasn't been much, I would guess, significant impact on her life and mine as a parent that would differ from norm. So I can't really give you any extenuating circumstances that have brought me to saying, but you know, pandemic, this I don't even want to call it a pandemic. This circumstance that's going on in the world has affected me in this particular way as it relates to my daughter because we can still get the necessities. She still gets to the doctor. The only thing about that is that, you know, both parents can go in to the doctor. But I don't know if all
Right.
pediatricians are like that, but both
Right,
parents can go in at the same time. So I have to stay outside generally. Um, or if the doctor wants to, if our doctor wants to ask us both, if it's a decision to be made about something, then both parents can go in. In a general circumstance, both parents can go in. It's pretty stupid, but don't even let me get into that. We are just doing stupid things generally.
I understand that point. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, pediatrician, necessities, take her outside as normal, beach life. You know, the only thing that she probably has to get accustomed to now, and I try not to have people around her too much masked up constantly because they don't really want her to grow up in a world where she's not seeing people's faces. I think that's a pretty dangerous thing, and psychologically that could have a very significant effect on children as well. They don't want her to have that as her norm. People might say, that's dangerous, you could get COVID and the rest of it. Don't even get me started on our topic because you could debate that one-on-one, whoever thinks that. But for me, that's the only thing I would say I try to normalize during this time. Like, I don't want, if you're going to be around her or handle her or whatever the case may be, I don't really want my child to be growing up in a world of half faces. I don't want that to be a norm at all. But apart from that, I think everything else is pretty normal. For her,
I was actually going to ask you, because as you said, she would be home. But I was going to ask you if you've been doing anything different. But I respect your position on that, your stand on that, because as a parent, you want her to see life, experience life. She has to learn from watching person's mouths, see their words. That's how they learn how to speak, really, from looking at person's lips and hearing and being able to connect while they hear to the lips and everything. So I was actually going to ask you about that. What you would have said hit the nail on the head, that you will make sure that she still experiences what is necessary for her development between 0 and 2 years old. People talking through masks, that's not going to help her learn how to speak properly at home.
Mm-hmm.
So I respect you on that. For real. Yeah. But for me, Charlie could go. I think you're next. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, you got a big old girl there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And the thing is, you are the individual that has both worlds. So you got that aspect.
When I saw the topic, I would tell you this. Hats off to teachers of this age. As a parent, being at home, trying to deal with them and they're learning online and balancing and the times they're at school and stuff like that, it took more out of me as a parent than out of me as a teacher to meet the needs of my students compared to meeting the needs of my children. I actually feel as though you don't say my daughter is where she is supposed to be developmentally, but I feel as though, like, if I could have do more, she would be a bit more further. And I feel as though I gotta do some work with her this vacation before she goes into reception, because it was hard to balance it with them. And let me tell you, if she had a online school and thing, I know what can happen because she didn't be doing nothing. I'm very grateful for the teachers, and as a parent, I really have big respect for the persons who teach at her age. I can tell you the first lockdown was the hardest, because I actually we didn't have to teach anything new. So I fell on that part trying to meet their needs. But the second one, it helped me with my time management and being able to balance everything, studying and dealing with them at school and myself and everything. But my principal and the deputy principal are also very I know what to say, accommodating, and that made me also think about persons in private sector, who don't have employers like mine. Because for my principal, deputy principal, if a day I couldn't attend to my duties at school, and I let them know, but you have persons who have to get to work, and if they get to work 4 minutes late, it's a problem. If I say, well, I gotta drop my daughter to school and they supposed to be there by 9 o'clock, and I get there at 9:10 or 9:15, nobody can be breathing on my neck. But you have other persons now who, when you gotta get to work for 8 o'clock, is 8 o'clock on the dot. And if you punch in at 8:04, 8:05, or 8:08, you can be getting warning letters and come calling in the office and stuff like that. So that really helped. It was more burnout than anything else for me, but then I had to check myself.
I'm so glad you said so, because I really was wondering what employers or supervisors are like since the pandemic started. For most people, I was actually wondering was.
But
that's it. And Chad, people actually think that their employees had to be at work to know that they're actually working and being productive and all types of things.
Yeah, a lot of them.
This working from home, they can handle it. Some managers and things couldn't handle it.
They can micromanage. They usually with.
You think?
Yeah, because a lot of people like to micromanage. That's the thing. And when you only accustomed to breathing over people's neck and everything to control the work environment, you don't know what it's like to operate outside of that scope. So I know a lot of these people is like fish out of water.
Yeah, boy.
I know that for sure. But you will find that people will be way more productive when they're at home. So
yes. When I was home, I was able to set up my time.
Right.
I would pack the lunch, like if I was going to work, and their lunch as well. And my son would the fridge. Yeah, but because I had to. So on Sunday we'll pack, and then he would go in the fridge and he would take out his lunch and warm up. Because when he is at school, at home, and I am teaching, and she is in her online class, I can't stop in the middle of my class to go and put out food for him.
Right.
And I am not gonna say yes. I want to say that I practicing him badly, but it is just easier for me to pack his food in the 3 or 4 containers for the week, and he could just go and take out. And then even when we went back out to school, the days that he would have been home, because he had to go to school alternate days, I made sure that I had everything there for him to make life easier. I mean, Kadir, he's only 13, and you don't want that. As what Tyrone was saying, you don't want him to think that life is like such a struggle or whatever. He's still got to function and make sure that he sees, well, this is how things are, and we do the best that we can with the circumstances that we have.
Right. Well, let me ask you a question though. Anybody stopped down this year? Because I know with everything, and we talking about like a very small number or like average, or from a teacher's perspective.
Yeah, at our school we have smaller numbers, yes, because there were decisions that were made at each year level. So we will have for the first years going into second form, we didn't have anybody to repeat, but they did look at their performance over the year because they didn't have promotion exams either. So they look at performance over the year, and they would have pulled out the children who they can say, well, you need remedial work, or you need extra work, or you want to be able to map like behavioral issues that came out or whatever. So all of those would have been flagged. But the second years, you did have some children who repeated because they were there for first and second form. And you had some children who had some really low marks and not just absent. So you have children who were online, and you have now to what you were investigating as time was going on. But for the ones who would have been online or at school and still would have performed below moderate
average,
below the average and stuff like that, those children would have been flagged, and then they had discussion, and so they definitely had some children repeating in seconds. I think the thirds going into fourths, they're going to let them go with their options. But we're also being strategic there, where you're going to have some children who are not going to do as many of the CSCs, and there's some who are going to do. So my principal and the management team, they know it's going based on our children and not based on what's happening at all of these schools, right? We are trying to work with our students as much as possible. Oh, and the 16-year-olds, we're also flagging them. So the ones who have already turned 16, we need to now see like, okay, what's going on here? Can they continue? Should we look for something else for them, etc.? But some schools had promotion meetings. Some schools actually had assessments. They were not promotion exams, but they had assessments for every subject. So everybody will not be the same. But last year it was everybody would have been promoted, but you know,
Right.
it can't be the same shoe all the time. So we definitely would have had some changes this time.
Right. Well, the reason why I asked was because based on the fact that none of us were prepared for this situation that took place. This is all new territory for everybody. So even parents who will be thinking like, I don't know if I did a good enough job in terms of online schooling, checking up on homework, because I spoke with some parents that told me that teachers were complaining about projects not being turned in on time, submitted via email on time. But like I said, nobody can prepare for something that they've never gone through before. It's all new territory for a lot of different people from different walks of life. Some people don't have the fortune that you would have had extended to you, where that your working environment is understandable, people willing to fill holes and that sort of thing. Because if I am at work, I don't get paid. You know, some people have that as a marker for their life. So children would have been suffering. You know, school was really a reprieve for a lot of people. And we always know it comes down to certain groups of people within certain communities that go through this issue. So because of the pandemic and everything, it was like I don't know what you can do here, and then it's good based off of priority. You gotta work because bills still coming in, bills ain't stopping because they got these issues and children stopping home, so you still gotta go there and work. So when done, I feel like parents still need to put themselves and get themselves a pat on the back for at least maneuvering through this unknown situation to the best of their abilities. But you know, we gotta learn from here. That's the only thing. That's all we can do. You gotta learn from this situation going forward. So for all those students who would have, you know, will have to repeat the current year, don't see it as a disadvantage, see it as an advantage. So, you know, I hope the best for them, and I hope that the parents somehow, as the remainder of the year comes, that they find ways, they find means, they find plans to be able to better navigate this situation. No, parenting during a pandemic. On my end, well, you know, my daughter is the oldest out of everybody in here, children, and I on the opposite end of what Tyrone would have been dealing with, which is getting emails from the school, knowing what is necessary, what has to be done, what is expected, all of these things. No, the reality is that my situation is different from you guys because my daughter no longer lives with me. So, you know, it's like you got a situation now where you're getting these emails, but I am not physically in the same space to be the one checking as to what's going on to ensure that everything that is supposed to be done is done. So then now that brings another dynamic now to the situation where how do you follow up? How do you keep abreast of what is being done, what is being delegated properly, and what is being submitted within the correct time span? So my situation was a lot different from yours would be, Janelle, and from Tyrone's, and definitely Keita's, because Keita I know what to check up on.
For sure.
But I know you're the godfather to a little man, I think.
Yeah,
so
sure.
how you heard about his results or anything like that?
No, I actually haven't got a chat bot because from last time we heard, they didn't get reports and then so it's it's interesting knowing the struggles that the average parent goes through now during the pandemic, from the youngest parent to the oldest parent. It's interesting because I don't know like what your daily routines are like before COVID when it pertains to your child, or what your relationship was with a teacher or relationship was with your child work was, like how you used to view your child's schoolwork. Was it like you just used to overlook homework and call it a day? Is it that you used to have to check in with teachers more on WhatsApp before the pandemic started? What was the approach? That was the approach. Like, what was the approach to teachers? No, I find that parents have a closer relationship with teachers, and there's a lot more. Like, all right, for instance, when we was going to school, how often your parents would actually talk to teachers? Not very often.
Probably the parent teachers meetings or something.
Yeah.
And then based on like social media and like WhatsApp and so on, teachers have become easy to contact for a parent via like WhatsApp or chat
Or even email. Yeah, it's true.
But
But that's still a double-edged sword too. But go ahead, my brother.
But know with what is going on right now, I find that like you could contact a teacher could contact a parent like snap of a finger. No, it is. It's more you like for me. If it was a child getting school, like you couldn't get into trouble though because our parents I couldn't get trouble, and you know, saying like that to happen so fast with a snap of a finger, it would be crazy, right? You forget you asked the same thing there in class on Zoom. If I was a child at that in that phase of time, at this point in time. But it's just interesting to see like the direction that technology has put us in during the pandemic, how we advance to understanding all these things. I know a lot of parents out there are not very tech savvy and they don't understand the concept, even Zoom when it started, to know where there are like this is the norm. Coming on Zoom or going on Google Meets or you know anything like that is the norm now. So it's just
They're still struggling though. Oh, they are.
They're on it near me.
That's true.
We back up?
Yeah, we back. Back to where I left off. Yeah, it's just interesting to see the change in dynamics of what a child's relationship was with a teacher, what a teacher's relationship was with a parent, and what really is the use of technology to both children and parents. Like a computer was a luxury for me. Computer was
compact for Sario, big man. Jesus, that was my first computer. Boy.
Yeah, mine too.
Straight out of the mayonnaise.
Mine too. Well, we did buy it from somebody was saying mine too, and we had some beach. That was my first internet.
I had carry access one.
Yeah, Sam Beach is the beginning, boy.
Whenever we see somebody with a carousel email address, I'd be like, "Child, boy, you was an OG." For sure.
Yeah, for sure.
But I want to address something that you said before we get into technology. We were talking about the changing relationship between the teachers and the students, and the teachers and the parents. Yeah. And I will say this to you: schools have been more of a haven for our children and for families than we can ever imagine. And without these children going to school regularly, we have had many cases, and Tyrone has started to talk about it, but we have had many cases popping up of abuse and pregnancy and stuff like that happening. And I'm telling you guys, right, when a child is at school daily, teachers notice things. They notice if they're unkept. They notice if, like changes in mood, attitudes and stuff like that. And then we're able to then, we will report something, and then information will get down. Now, I will not say that everything happens quickly, because it does not. So when the guidance counselor has to send something to, the child care board, I'm not saying that it happens automatically, but at least there's more awareness, right? But when the children are not at school, and then we're gonna start talking about the not eating thing. When the children are not at school, you don't get to build that bond, and you don't get to notice things. So things that could have been, I don't want to say stopped in the tracks, right? But if you're at school daily, you will start to see, well, look, Nancy ain't looking herself. Nancy face getting fatter, or Nancy will be more withdrawn or something like that. Let me say, Nancy might even come to me because of me, some person she can talk to, but she's not at school daily and she home. So when Nancy ain't got nobody to talk to, because she ain't talk to nobody in the house, and if somebody the next door neighbor troubling her and this and that thing, and I ain't gonna tell a lie. When I would have heard about those cases that happened here, I am telling you that if those children were at school, somebody might have noticed. I'm not saying not think of families, because as what Chad was saying, it has been very difficult for parents. So it would be hard for parents to keep track of every single thing. And but when they're at school now, and you have that relationship, the children will come and talk to certain persons, or the teachers might notice. And when you don't have that, and that's where my issue with society is, that we don't realize that the issues that we have are not political issues, they're not religious issues, they're social ill issues. They're so political issues contribute to the social ills, and all these things contribute to the social ills, but we don't get to the base of it. So you can't make a policy decision without actually doing research and realizing what's really happening on the ground. And we missing the point. A lot of things happening on the ground that we are not attending to, and there's only so much that the teachers can do, because nobody don't even take me on. So so even if we do talk about it, people's guns, so we always complaining.
Understood.
Sorry,
Understood.
I just had a low rant.
Yeah, you had a whole lot of TED Talks. Yeah, a lot of TED Talks. They were being a teacher, being like, it was whoa.
Yeah,
it was. But I didn't even look at it from that aspect, because I've never been a capacity where you could say that I treat either with teacher to understand like what you're going through, because it's like I know you've got to notice certain things about children, but all those small details that you would know about how much other children in the class that you would notice in person gotta be real difficult to notice on a computer, because you're literally just seeing a square.
A square with a letter. Listen, one day tell the church, I said, look, I prefer to be back home to look at the squares and letters, because they all got to talk so much, right? But when you're talking to your children, when you gotta talk a lot, that's you learn. Or when you let them talk, you hear a lot, right? And you say, oh, I see what one is be doing. Yeah. But when I'm home now, I can't keep track. I can't malicious the business.
But let me ask you all this, parents, outside of Tyrone, because he says no state, but financially, like, is it more feasible for the children to be home or to be at school? Like, for you as a parent, like, do you find that it's less money in general that you would say that you spend on a normal basis when children are at school or when you're home? Because I think like
the only body that can answer that is Janela. Because Tyrone baby gonna be home regardless.
Yeah. Life still nice for she.
Yeah.
Life still nice for her. So
but I know that bill gonna be up in here, boy.
How I ain't spending gas, I had to put in food. And they thought that it was the teenager that was gonna be the horror. And yeah, he's eat a lot, but the little one, she always hungry. Yeah. And I think it's like a lot to do with boredom too, because when they're at school, when they get to be, they're active and they have a better routine. Not saying that you don't have a routine. Sometimes it's gotta let go of the routines too, because for your mental health, right? For your
that word,
to avoid that burnout and thing, to avoid that, sometimes it's just gotta let it go. let go the routine, let go making them bathe every morning by a particular time and all that. I had to let it go so that I could function. But they ate a lot, so I wasn't spending gas, I ended up spending food, and I was still struggling. I mean, my budget, when I budget out to zero, so I literally spent all the money. It's no form or fashion. But it has been difficult. I actually had to change. I've been changing our eating patterns too. What we eat. So since they're home and I saw myself putting on weight, I don't use as much flour things any longer. We don't buy any sweet drinks no more. We do nothing in the house and just drink water. And I said, get juice. Gas station. Tell me she want juice. I said, I ain't practicing you that water. So, yeah. No, I mean, people is coming here. I said, mommy, nope. Water. Because that means what? So it's got all these things. It's got to work as a parent, you know.
Even Glendary's got a mortgage, you know, man. Jeez, man.
Well, listen, Glendary don't pay Glendary bills.
Exactly. We just pay Glendary bills, B.
This is fundamentally.
So these can understand, yeah.
But I got a question for you, Tyrone. In terms of, not once upon a time, when a baby is new, between that first 12-month stage, the only time or the only people that will really engage with that baby is the parents and close members of the family, right? Friends, that sort of thing. Since COVID come in, right, and all this social distancing, I think, have you been moving around with her, like getting she over to the other households and the different family members and that sort of thing, or you was more so like a little standoffish because of that, because of everything going on?
I wouldn't say there's been anything standoffish in my approach to her socializing. Luckily for her, she has close family a couple of avenues up from where she resides with her mother. So her mother would generally take her there, or her grandmother would take her there, or she would go by her great grandmother as well, who is also relatively close. So the family unit is close in the in the area, and then by me now, that's something that has to be normalized, because the distance to travel is pretty significant, because she lives in basically Spikestown, Roadview, and obviously I live in town. Basically, so the go between in terms of the households is something that has to be normalized or standardized or regularized in some form. Like for tomorrow, like for example, she's going to be coming down here tomorrow, and then I could say, well, we would familiarize her with down here in the same way with my family and my friends are. But I don't think that there's any current restriction with her as it relates to socializing. We will have to see how it continues as she gets older, because obviously you can be looking for children her same age to interact with, and that there aren't much in the area that I know of, or her mother knows of at this time. Because most of her like godparents have children who are either I can't call them toddlers anymore, 4, 5, 6, right up in that age range. So I guess where she would find her niche friends wise is if at any point in time she goes into nursery, and that's where she would probably begin to interact with children her own age and that kind of thing. So that's the only thing I could say as it relates to that.
But I know for you, right? I know for you how you stand mentally in the regard to everything that going on in the world today, right? But you gotta remember, your mind is not the mind of everybody else's. So, after a while, you could grind down a gear to nothing if you continually pick at it. So my flip side question though would be, Have you been getting any issues like, now obviously the baby coming in, everybody like kiss up babies and thing. But from your end, you was getting anybody like getting on away because you might be showing up without a mask and all these sort of things? Because I could tell one of the eyes, we're going to places with people that I am very familiar with, and you already feel the difference in the behaviors when people will see you come in or approaching their homes without a mask on. So I know from your end, if you was getting pushed back from the other side, no.
Not really, to be honest. I haven't had that experience.
You got a whole family of sensible people.
And many people know you, so they got work to do too.
I kind of rather shit. I have not had that experience, to be very, very honest with you. Not even in Richtown, I've had that experience. As it relates to her. Because obviously she's too small for anybody to really want to say, oh, we should put a man's going on that.
But she can't put, no, she can't put a man.
It's nonsensical foolishness.
Yeah.
Even if I see them small children.
They're under 5 years old, it was not mandatory, so my daughter is only.
But when they see them children, with the mask on, barking off the ear, they'll be like, what?
Yeah.
On these masks up on these little children. I know, listen, watching scene, right? A couple of years down the line, you can hear people got all kind of respiratory problems here. Right? Cause I just got a big issue with that there, cause you need to inhale oxygen. You can't be breathing back in everything that you're pushing back out, and people that got to stand up and work in a business place for hours on end with a mask on, that's just crazy to me.
Trust and believe, right? Yeah, 7 children doing the exam and thing. It was like, geez, brothers, I got to sit down here so for this whole 75 minutes. So all long the exam was 80 minutes and thing, and you, man, it's really not fair. Not fair at all. But I know when people with Toronto, I'm sure people respect your position and they'll work to suit. I guess one of the suggestions that you have for persons with babies and toddlers is to farm pods, Allison, and then you'll farm like a pod of 4 or 5 children of your friends, and they will get to socialize with each other and stuff like that. Or even if they're not your direct friends, but friends of friends and people who are like minded that you can have, that your daughter can still be around. Even this, so we all made the decision that she doesn't go into nursery before she's 2 years old. But you know, things like that, you will still build a little community where she will still get to be around others and be comfortable with being herself and going and everything too. So that would be a suggestion that people will make for, and even though don't care what age, especially up to say about 8 years old, having that little community for the little people, 5 to 8, 3 to 5s and stuff like that.
Well, you know what just popped in my head there just now was the fact that it's difficult for we as adults to really and truly navigate how to be around people. Like, I don't know about winner, but because for me mentally, I just really don't care nothing about this whole COVID thing and whatever. I still feel like, embracing people and talking to people and all of that's me personally. But
naturally,
I feel so apprehensive because I don't know what's going on in the next person's skull. To know how they feel, how they intake the information, how they dissect it. Because right now, the biggest debate online is vaccinated versus unvaccinated, and that seems to be the number one trending topic at this point right now. Because you're hearing a lot of business places, the owners of business places coming out and speaking about people that are not vaccinated will have to be submitting weekly reports of negative PCR testing and this sort of thing. So to tie it back to the parenting during the pandemic is like, how do you expect a youngster who now got to interact with people their age, which is a natural ascension in from being a toddler to adolescent to an adult? This gonna damage being able to be social too. They already got children out there that are naturally not gifted with being socially out there. You know, they're already socially awkward and that sort of thing. And that in itself is something that is very hard to teach somebody how to get out of. It's something you gotta learn. So now you telling children that they gotta stay away from one another forcefully, even when they're in school, I believe that that has a long-term effect on the social skills
Very
that
much
are
so.
necessary
Yeah.
in life. So we can be creating more dependence. Because we're supposed to graduate children from being dependent to independent. But I think that this is another facet now that parents gotta fight against in order to have children grow in an independent life. So to me, it feels like if the job is getting harder and not easier, especially since 2020. So what was the ages of you children again, Janelle? What you is
4
13?
and 13. 4 and 13.
4 and 13.
Yeah.
So your son would have had at least a couple years before COVID, which would have been, he would have been 11 or so, to understand what it's like to go to school, meet people, meet children, become friends, fall out, figure it out, not figure it out, go to secondary school, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Your daughter now does not have that. She has not been exposed to that because the time when the pandemic hit, she would have been 2. So it's like she know she's disadvantaged because of her age group and what she would have been exposed to at the given point in time or points in time.
Yeah.
So how have you been noticing any reluctancy to be more out there with children? Because I remember when my daughter was that age, it was like when I pick her up from school, the first thing we're going to do, if it's early, we're going straight into a chauffeur for she to rumble and go in the play a part, and she can met friends, and then she can cry by when it's time for she to left. Them sort of things missing now, because everywhere is just, I just don't know how to navigate. That, to be honest with you. So I don't know how you dealing with that with a 4-year-old child. I know the beach once upon a time was yours.
I was going every Friday. We haven't been as much this year, but that's what I was going to say. Just as well, Tyrone, I would have mentioned trying to make life still be as realistic for her age and not for what's happening in society. That's what we were trying to do. We were going to the beach every single week without fail, and she would still be around people without any mask or anything like that. But we didn't beach in a mask or anything. And then do you understand, right? I know COVID don't exist at during the day either, or thing or whatever. It's only between 11 and 5, but we digress. And then like with the pause and having her around other children, who like family and stuff like that. I try to keep that up as much as possible. At first it was like there with her grandmother because her dad's mother is aged, so it was like you don't want to go down there too much and all that. They had that. They're making things too complicated. When she want to go outside, she gets to go outside most of the time. At school, they try their best, but the children would still be around each other. The only thing they had a bunny mask, but they were still allowed to go outside and play because at her age they can't restrict. And that's another thing too, which I don't like, and I don't know what's gonna happen now in primary school because they have cut lunchtime play. That is not supposed to happen. Literally, that is not supposed to happen. So in nursery, she still had her play, but with I don't know how can you cut lunchtime play from 0 to 16 years old? These children are supposed to still be outside and be able to. We got 11 and 12-year-olds coop up in a classroom and think anything is.
Well, it's a little for lunch.
Pardon?
We used to look forward for lunch. When we were in primary school, we used to look forward to lunch.
You know that they have schools that have principals who used to work at their teachers for not letting their children go. So they have some teachers who want to keep in at lunch. And there are principals who say no because children are supposed to go outside and play.
Yeah. Explain some of that energy, man.
Yes.
That's like
cutting each other. What you were saying, Chad, they need to be around each other.
Yeah, that's like cutting That's like in 2021, people still got a 30-minute lunch break and beer foolishness. But you think that you eat your food, but it's time for you to walk back in. So
Because
I
the
don't
people don't
understand where
want to pay
they're
them
coming
for
from.
the hour charge.
But no, you see, the thing is this. Back in the day, I can't remember when it is that the law had changed. But back in the day, we used to work 8-hour shifts, which would mean 7 physical working hours and then 1 hour paid lunch. Then they decided to change that, where they went to 9-hour days with meaning you're working 8 hours, but you have a lunch time that is unpaid. So I mean, all of these things took place. They did what they wanted to do. I remember myself included. I was a man that sometimes I want to go lunch and I would be like, all right, but I taking my hour now, which would mean like let me say you finishing work at 4:30. I will go and take my lunch at 3:30. So don't look back for me because I can't back in here. You understand? And all of these things that people like me that would think to find that loophole, people would want to be upset that you doing something like that. But I would in my right.
They still are. I saw it in an institution up to this week. So it still exists. That still exists.
It does.
It does.
Or for that half an hour lunch, if they take a 4 hour, they're not paid for the 4 hour. So they may not have the 9-hour shift, they will have an 8-hour shift. It's still like
it might not necessarily even be a loophole. You might just be doing it to assist your team or your friends or your workmates. But it seemed as nah, you trying to trade system.
Yeah.
Well, the system always tricking me, so I had to take my time and trick it. But I mean, well, nobody, I had to do it because I don't know. People love the idea of infringing on your rights and things.
Right.
And when you find a way to work it to your advantage, it is be a problem. You understand? So I don't know what to tell you about that one. But what you just mentioned, though, Janelle, about cutting the playtime, this is absolute foolishness. Based on the fact that they said that the COVID and everything don't affect children under a certain age, I really and truly don't know why. I know my man Tyrone has got his ways of articulating these things, but to me, it's just a whole bunch of unnecessary tactics that being put into play for absolutely no reason. I just don't see the reason why that everything is going in the manner in which it's going. I got a lot of personal issues with things that came about, how they decided to deal with it, and but society, man, they got people out there so that making the most noise. That we said back in there, empty vessels are making the most noise, and those people that don't know jack shit other than what they hear on the TV and print in a newspaper, does be avidly arguing over things. When they come and they tell you common sensibly, well, look, boom, 99% recovery rate, boom. Then the reason that you get isolated for 2 weeks, which is no different than if your daughter or your son get a cold and they tell you to come to nursery, you can stop in the house. The people in the house
but
get the cold. You people get
about
cold,
that
and then
it's like you don't even need to be sick to go to isolate nowadays.
That's the thing.
Tyrone, let me not start.
I know Tyrone ready to unleash, man.
I can't, boy.
Let me not start.
It got me lethargic, though. Like I just tired. Like I know we said that in season 3 that we tired, but I real tired of this circus thing. This roundabout thing is like.
And no, it was just something that Tyrone has said in the chat that when they play on you to that point where your mind gets fatigued, right? Your body's gonna break down. You're with thinking the usual, like how you will process things. You're gonna process. You could just be like, you know what?
Yeah, left it out.
First word they say, I done with it. Say whatever they say, I can go long way because I can't take it no more. That's what they're doing. They are beating people down,
mental fatigue,
draining people mentally. Okay, to that point where they feel sick. They might not even, as Tyrone said, they might not even be sick, and then they'll say, I should really go and get tested, because so yesterday was coughing on me. Yes,
yeah.
That is that fear mongering that takes away that fear paralyzes people naturally. Okay? Historically, from the beginning of time, man was learning to adapt and work to suit. But every time you have things like this here that happen, you get back to that fear, you know, that flight mode, and you know, like, oh my gosh, they're gonna run away, or
Fight or flight.
That is what's happening, and that is what's scary for me. That is what, even with me, I was talking to my son today. I was like, Jayla, I gotta go back to work now, and then tell me I'm gonna get tested every 2 weeks, and I think I can't handle that mentally. I got too many things I gotta go now, and somebody, I can't deal with it because I stand by my principle. Nobody can ask me my business, but I stand on my how I feel about this here. And Chad, you know, don't have to mention it yet again, but I'm still on the back of the line, right?
Yeah.
But with him, I was talking to him about it. I was like, just as you said, I heard.
But listen, the thing is, well, you know, it's the mechanical sport and everything in that regard. But the fact that they're saying that people who would have taken the vaccine and everything still getting, like, them making up a good number of the people that going up to the Harrison's Point and thing, is like, where, you know, when you got the choice of eating ice cream or eating a flavor ice cream you don't like, you know, you obviously go for the lesser of the two evils. You ever got that? Like, people who have to either decide to submit weekly testing or be vaccinated. Which is the lesser of the two evils? I don't know. I can't tell you.
That is exactly what I was saying. It's like both of them. Which one is the lesser of the two evil? Because I really don't want anybody going up into that area.
Nobody will be.
You can imagine going up in there, so every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks?
Some sort of damage gonna happen.
Every 2 weeks.
It only takes once.
You understand?
That's a little. That's
It's
not a
not
little too
going
dangerous.
to be happening. We need to Stephen explain that, though.
And then they can tell me no, the vaccine come in, and then my son now, I gotta think about it. You gotta think about your daughter and thing, because
September.
you say that they can't come to school. You got colleges and thing. You can't telling people that they can't go to school.
Prepare for September.
Vaccinated.
August is gyms, restaurants, bars, movie theaters, and that kind of thing.
Mhm.
That is going to be restricted to vaccinated or people with tests. Some areas or some countries are going to give people that have vaccinated only access to those areas, and then also on top of that, the price is for regular testing or mandatory vaccination across the world. If you look and see that it's happening across the world.
Yeah.
The same
definitely.
exact thing. You carry across CARICOM. Funny thing about it is that we never got CARICOM figured out to fully run right, and all of a sudden, right across the Caribbean, everybody got the same idea and the same strategy.
Same rules, yeah.
It running so smoothly, but CARICOM could have never worked.
Never.
And so that is what's going on for August. The president in September now is going to be focused on children. Remember that Tyrone tell you. The September price is going to be on vaccinating children.
This man scared me. I don't know.
Because you know that what he's saying is
yeah, the man never said nothing that fall on it face. The man always says something, and like clockwork is appear.
I tell you,
the manifesto.
But the manifesto, but you don't hold to a manifesto. In a manifesto, he got the Constitution.
Once the end game is the stats are easy to see.
Very much so. End game. Very not,
but a little bit closer to the topic. Back to topic though. Who I really had a big concern for, and continue to have a concern for, because I have a lot of teacher friends, and I asked about the very, very young ones, the reception students and A students, because them ain't able with a tablet or nice or phone, tablet, nice or for all day, because them ain't got that concentration level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I worry how they are missing out so much hours of mental development and social development because you are 3, 4 years old, 5 years old, you at home where you would normally be in a school learning your ABCs, your 1, 2, 3s, color, shapes, songs, sizes, all of those things you're learning, and you have at least, and from what I understand from a teacher that teaches at that level, she told me they only did or were doing 1 hour with those students, obviously for the same reason, the same concentration reason. 1 hour. You've gone from 6 hours of mental and social development to 1 hour a day or electronically. So those at that level 3, 4, 5, which is that real impressionable, real key developmental level as you go up now to real understanding key concepts and that kind of thing in school, those children have lost out so much development if their parents are not actively taking part in making up for what teachers are not doing. And it's highly doubtful for me that they are, because those teachers at that level are very specialized, they find too, in terms of experience or training. So I could only imagine a parent having to fill that void of 5 hours a day without any kind of proper social and academic development for that young impressionable age group. So it's gonna compound the developmental level of students going forward now. From that level going up, everybody get hopefully some kind of normalization takes place. PS, don't look for it to happen. Hopefully some kind of normalization takes place.
Thanks.
And it doesn't have the effect on the academic development of students going forward from what is happening for the last 16 to 17 months. That's the truth. But that's what we really worry for. That's what we really worry for.
He's a sorry. But what Tyrone was just saying, bring back full circle to what I was feeling. Sorry, Chad, right? But how I was I felt that way. Like if I couldn't fill the void, I know I can't. Actually, funny enough, I have asked my mother and my sister to help me with her this vacation because I may have the know-how, but the skill level is different with teaching them at that age. And they will big up her nursery school. They did a phenomenal job with their 1 hour a day, their half an hour slots, and they had no device day every other week. That in itself helped even me to keep track of my, how I would have been with the device and thing as well. And then when they would have been at school, their policies learn through play, which is similar to my son with a Montessori, not Montessori level right through, but learning through play. And they still got to using manipulatives and everything daily. And I ain't gonna tell you, like, if it were up to me, she didn't recognize half the letters that she could recognize, because as a parent, it ain't easy to try to keep track of all these things. Or like, all right, wait, in Sesame Street, you learn 2 letters and a number in the episode and stuff like that. I can't get a girl to learn she needs to spell she needs too good. Like, I just get tired. It's like, you know what, look, go on. But the teachers, they need that time. I know you're saying all that things ain't not me going back to anything, but I really hope that for their age group, all them infants, nursery right up to infants B, that they get to go to school daily. I need to do daily 4 hours or 5 hours something, but they need it. I can't do it unless a teacher.
Agreed.
So imagine the ones that parents will be working funny shifts and things like that. Gosh, I give my hats off to you parents out there who are getting it done and done well. As Chad was saying, you honestly, you're gonna go big at yourself and pat yourselves on your back, because it is not easy.
Yeah, it wasn't anything that was in the handbook of parenting for sure. So parents need to just see it as an opportunity to grow from, because I mean, how many of these we go through? You know what I'm saying? So Yeah, so as far as I'm concerned, I just believe that parents need to take the lessons that were taught during this situation here and be better prepared. It's almost like, when Elsa came and Elsa pretty much mashed up the grade. So, and we was offline for a couple of days, some of us longer weeks. If that did not teach you something, that means that you aren't paying attention. It taught us that you gotta prepare your homes a certain way in the event that you without water, you without light. If you live in a specific area where, like, mostly people on the east side who will be getting those unfiltered rains coming through, you gotta better prepare your household. So there's a lot to learn. In every situation, every disaster, there's something to take away from it. And COVID in itself showed you that when everything closed down, where you measure up in life. Because I know a lot of the accountants, a lot of the teachers, a lot of the people out there so that believe that them on the higher echelon of society recognize that the same people who just be packing shelves in a supermarket are way more important, fundamentally way more important than them. So it's all about recognizing where you fall and where you align, so that whenever a situation takes place, that your family can sit down and eat a food until the place over back. Because let me tell you something, a lot of people out there crying, a lot of people out there suffering, had it not been for specific groups of people that try to assist, and then also the government coming in and assisting people, a lot more outbreak would have been happening. So we're gonna take these lessons here, because you just can't go through this here twice. You can't be it's one thing to take licks now, but you don't learn from the licks that you get. And you don't properly prepare for when the next set of licks comes, that you got at least a little shield to take some of the lash. So I can say thank you to everybody for coming through tonight on the podcast. It's been a serious conversation. We don't have much jokes tonight, because usually we've been here calculating and I be fun people, but this episode was a rather serious conversation, man, and a solemn one, So I just want to say thank you to everybody for coming through. Thanks to Keita, Tyrone, and Janelle for being part of the panel as usual. Give thanks to Allery Media Productions for hosting us, getting us through. Don't forget that Floor spelled backward is wolf, and that's what they are. They are a wolf in sheep's clothing. That's the reason why that they almost cut the broadcast just now. So with that being said, I want to say good night and give thanks as usual. So when I go tell the people when I go on, man.
You shut the show off. I just want to apologize to Keita. Keita, don't mind nobody, all right? Everything you want to here, buddy. And you there so sad, don't so just listening. Don't let nobody tell you no foolishness.
When I really think A-Tag going off with you though, like when I really feel A-Dog weak minded, like, nah, I get mine. I plug in mine. I get. But I want to tell you for us, good night. Thanks.
Drink your oats.
Good night, everybody. Thank you very much.
Drink your oats and order the BlueChew.com, dog.
BlueChew.com, go get you some.
Somebody open an unvaccinated bar, please. Somebody open an unvaccinated bar.
But hey, you want to say nothing? You don't gotta say nothing, because once the segregation start, you don't know that people that within that group got to take matters. So don't mind them.
It's true.
Don't mind them. We got to be unvaccinated lines and everything.
It's true.
Real talk.
It's true.
They're looking for it. And we like it be short. No problem.
And they can be sponsored by Keita Coconut Water.
BlueChew.com.
I'm BlueChew.com, yeah.
Yeah,
All right, people.
And good night.